Are you going against your own true nature? A couple months ago, I got a chance to participate in the Rich Lipton Intensive. I really say participate because I attended that as a leader, part of his leadership team. And one of the things, in addition to leading a small group of 10 of the most powerful people I had come across up until that point, we also were supporting the success of the event through really sourcing it, logistics, making sure that the things that everyone needed were there. One of the things that's interesting about that is throughout the experience, we were working on depth. We're creating energy for people to really be able to go on a transformational journey. And there's some things that just need to get done. And part of that there included having to make sure that mics were available for every person who was called upon to speak. And I had the pleasure of really getting a chance to do that one day. And I remember this. It was really funny because it wasn't on my list of things to do. And someone needed to switch. And I said, oh, I'll raise my hand. I've heard how this works in the past. It's finally my time to run the mics. And I remember I was like, I'm like, all right, I got this here. And we had gone through a training earlier that morning. And I was like, everything, check, 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 check. And there was one other thing that came to my mind from previous years when I had heard them talk about mic running, which is be a ninja mouse. Be a ninja mouse. Smooth, silent, with precision, and you're all you need to do is just be there, almost anticipating what is necessary, and then be out. It was time for Ninja Mouse Niiamah. Yeah, that didn't happen. instead, what ended up happening is I took it on. I took on the real persona and identity of being a ninja mouse for me. But that day, they had shown a video with us doing a flash mob, and I had ended up coming out there and dancing and letting out my heart. It was to my song, "This Is Me." I was also wearing a bright yellow shirt because I love that color, and I had actually made a decision that day to be seen. So I was wearing this bright yellow shirt. I had just been featured in the video earlier, and all these things are in my mind. And what came up was this feeling that I get sometimes, right? Am I taking up too much space? Or really what I was feeling in that moment was, I know that I have gravitas. I know that there's presence with me. And I was just featured in this video, or these people are coming up to me and asking me, congratulating me on it. It wasn't really a feature. And then secondly, I'm wearing this bright shirt, and to be honest, I'm a big African-American man in a room that didn't have a whole lot of other ones. And so I was really cognizant of this, because what I find is that for me, people, I can take attention. The attention can all come to me. And I didn't want to really disrupt the energy, the tension, the work that was being done on stage and in that room there. And so as a silent ninja mouse, I went and I was running the mics up for people coming from the back of the room, getting it to them, and then taking a knee next to them. And I just remember standing there and then crouching and then waiting for the opportunity to go back. And there was this one time where someone got called on stage, and I got all in my head because I had given them a mic. They then got called on stage. Well, I was standing next to their seat up until that time, and I was in the crouch position, waiting to take back the mic. But now they're on stage, and then my head thoughts started going. Should I stay here where I am? Should I go up on stage with next to them? Where should I be so that this can just be smooth and I won't interrupt anything? And by the time my thought process had finished, it was already too late to make a decision. So now I'm sitting there crouched on the side next to the chair where they were. They're on stage, my mic's on stage, and I'm like, ooh, I might have to be here for a bit. So I make my way over to the side up next to the wall. And I find myself crouching there too, because I'm like, if I stand up here, at this point, I'm going to distract his attention, you know? And I'm out here just, I spent probably like 30 minutes in like a crouched position, trying not to take on, not to distract in any kind of way. And he continues to have the conversation. And then the person gets done. And I'm like, okay, here we go. I'm going to get the mic back. And she leaves the mic up on stage. And I'm standing there. I'm crouched in the position, like trying to figure out, do I go on stage now? But if I do it, it would be really distracting, so on and so forth. All of these things are going in my mind. I get tapped on the shoulder as someone else goes up, just walks on stage, grabs a mic, comes down and hands it to me. I had a few of these types of moments throughout that weekend. It's actually very interesting. The way I described it is that, like, mic running got the best of me. It beat me that day. There was another 20-minute period where, again, I had that I was up against the wall and crouching and trying to figure out. I'm like, oh no, how did it happen again? And I was seeing people walking up and down, and using the restroom and getting water. And I was thinking to myself, how lucky. This is honestly how my mind worked. It was, how lucky are you that, like, when you move, you don't cause distraction. You don't have the presence that I have. And after about like the fourth time of thinking that, and after my legs, honestly, were just like, it was just burning. It was burning. There was someone that was actually sitting next to me, this happily on his laptop, taking care of some things. And I was sitting there. I was mad and jealous to the world. Like, I'm just like, what is going on? Not realizing that I was creating it for myself. And eventually I got up. I saw someone go to the back of the room, and it dawned on me. I was like, there's no rule here saying that you can't get up. There's no rule here saying that you can't be seen. There's no rule here that says that you have to take up, that it will be a bad thing if anything did happen. Just get up and go. And it seems so simple. It seems like such a simplistic story here. But the decision to simply get up and walk to the back of the room in my bright yellow shirt, in the middle of a deep coaching experience that was happening in the room, and just own it, shifted everything for me. Of course, as soon as I got to the back of the room, he's like, I think we're complete. And that part of the session ended, But I think I needed to be complete. And what I found through that the insight that I had through it all, was that the whole way that I was operating there was against my nature. I'm a big, black, bold, beautiful man. I take up space. You can't not see me. I have gravity. I have presence. I have energy. Like, I've heard that things change once I enter the room. The energy of the room changes. And I'm over here trying to squeeze myself into like a silent ninja mouse. It wasn't the way for me to play. We came back in the afternoon and we were laughing about the struggles that I was having. And I said, put me back in, coach. Something to that effect. I'm like, I'd like to do this again. And this time, later on that afternoon, I was a mic runner again. And in this time here, there was a difference. The difference was that I chose to own all of who I am. I chose to lean into my nature and to take responsibility for the fact that I am someone who is seen. And so I didn't move like a silent ninja mouse. I moved with like a person with purpose. And I would hand the mics in and stand up with my arm like this, like a sentinel. Like, I am here, I am present, but I am not imposing. And then when they got done, I would take the mic, or I would end up against the wall and I would stand up rather than crouch for 20 minutes. And I would stand and just own that, like, if someone looks over here, great. I have their back. They'll get some energizing support and they'll be able to go back into the session. I am too visible to pretend that I'm invisible. It's one of the best. It's so simple. Like, you would think that there would be like this deep transformative moment that came from this insight. It's because my legs were burning that I really got a chance to see where else. And the question that came up here in my mind is, where else in my life am I going against my nature? Where else in my life am I having metaphorical burning of legs because I'm trying to do things the way that I think it should be done, or that I don't want to mess. I don't want to. I don't want to actually wield my own strength, my own power. That's what that lesson was for me. So as we start here, I want you to think about your own true nature. I want you to think and settle into what are some areas in your life where you're actually playing the game counter to what would naturally flow for you. Today, we're going to play the unapologetically you game, something that I am really thrilled to have the chance to play with you all. I found that by having consistent opportunities to explore who you are, we can really emerge as the leader that's really within you. And it takes time to get aligned. It takes time to really show up as yourself, but it doesn't need to take that much time. And so today, we'll go ahead and explore. I'm going to bring on Anisha here. Anisha, you just heard this story here. We're gonna play today, and however we choose to play. That might involve. There's a lot of different ways that might involve. It might involve coaching. It might involve a conversation. We'll just do some exploration here. There may be others that come and join us later on. I'm okay with that, but you are my sole focus. Right? My invitation to you is to be selfish throughout this conversation. Sometimes it's easier to hear that as self-interested. You're here for a reason, right? Make the most of it. Be fully involved there. Let me ask you, in hearing that story, what came up to mind for you? It could be an insight that came to you. It could be just a feeling. I'll be curious if there was anything that showed up for you. The answer can be absolutely not, but I'll be curious. Hold on one second. You're muted.
Yeah. All right. I think you can hear me.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah.
So yeah, I think, it's, there are a few instances, of course, that do come to mind where you're overthinking a situation, to not be, have a jarring presence in that sense, even though it's just in your head that it's actually a jarring presence. Or when you're with another strong personality, how do you balance out two strong personalities in a room with a third party? And this is more in terms of work, I would say, than in personal situations. I think I'm not inhibited, but in the workplace, I feel like I do take a step back sometimes because, I do work with a very strong personality as well. So, you got to balance that out a little bit, and at the same time, not take the back seat, but also try and be as visible, if I may say, in certain circumstances and situations.
Awesome. So let's do this here. Thank you, Anisha. Thank you for sharing what came up here. Let's do this. So we get a chance here. We've known each other for a while. We get a chance to really explore here today, right? What I would like to offer you is an opportunity to. I like to take an opportunity to just kind of like relax into this conversation a bit together,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm going to do this here. You've gone through my agreements before, but I like to just set it up with you in this conversation. The way I like to look at it is like it's just the two of us here having a conversation, and I want to bring in some if you're up for it, some deep, powerful coaching for you around all these things that we're talking about and more. Right? To do that, I'm going to need. I would like to set up a couple agreements with you here. Okay, you can let me know yes or no. It's totally fine either way. Now, here goes the thing. I want to acknowledge you already, right? If you don't mind, Anisha. Right now, it's the two of us on this conversation, right? And what I get about you is that you're already showing up. You're showing up. It's your morning, and you're here on this call. You are you're here playing full out, and you're not waiting for anyone else to like make the experience for you. And so from that regard there, I really want to acknowledge you right off the bat. Yeah. And I think that's like, I can feel myself. I'm like, oh, Niiamah, you need to serve this person here. You need to serve her because she made a choice today. So in order to really serve you,
Mm-hmm.
in order to really serve you here, there's 5 things I'm going to ask. You can say yes or no to either of them. We'll go to any of them and we'll go from there. I'll just, if it's a no, we'll just recreate what we need. The first thing is that I'm going to hide nothing and hold nothing back in this conversation. Are you good with that?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. The second is that I'm here to serve you, not please you. Are you good with that?
Yes.
All right. The third is that I have had a track record of having life-changing conversations. It's the only game I play nowadays. So are you open to the possibility of this being a life-changing conversation?
Yeah, most definitely.
All right. Yeah, I can see that smile. I really believe it. The fourth thing is that I'm going to lead in this conversation, but you're in control. What that means is that we're co-creating this experience. I'm going to take us down places that seem right for me, but like we are making this together. Right? You get the benefit of being really getting coached here. We get to spend some time. So as we go different places, you can let us know if it's a place you want to go or not. You know, let's just make sure we have information here. Let's dance together. You know what I mean? Sometimes it might be like, yeah, the reason you don't want to go there, that's the reason why I'm asking it. It's the question that you actually came here to answer, you know? And at the other point of it, you can also transport us anywhere we need to be in conversation. We might go down a certain path and you realize that it isn't really serving you.
Mm-hmm.
And you might know like what you really need. Just take us right to where you need to go. That's what this is really about. Okay.
Sure.
So are you good with the agreement of I'm going to lead, but you're in control?
Yes.
All right, awesome. And then the fifth thing here, the fifth one is the most fun. It's the brag zone. So it's my invitation for you to come and play in the brag zone. What that means here is that you can leave the feeling of having to be humble, leave the feeling of, what if I'm coming off as arrogant or cocky or obnoxious? You know, this is your space to like really be messy again. The words that I use when it comes to these games, I call it unapologetically you game for a reason, because it's an opportunity for us to play outside of our comfort zone. I use the word play and all these things because when we're taking on new things, it actually can be really heavy and sometimes it can feel very dangerous, very risky.
Mm-hmm.
And it requires courage. And part of that, to allow for that courage here, is to transform that risky thing into something that can be a lot lighter, into a game, for example. There's one of the different ways that I create space with people. And so I'd like to invite you into the brag zone so that we can really be playing and helping you play at the edge of your comfort zone and then safely but courageously together go beyond that. Are you comfortable being uncomfortable in the brag zone?
Am I comfortable being uncomfortable?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. Yeah, I'm trying to.
Yeah. What do you need clarification on it? Yeah.
Am I supposed? Why? Yeah, I mean.
All right. Let me rephrase it then. Are you willing to play in the brag zone today?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Sorry. Short is one thing that doesn't work for me just because of the way that I play. So yes or no, either one is really great. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Is there any clarification that you needed on the brag zone? It might have just been like the way that I phrase it. Sometimes I just wanted to check in and see, make sure that you actually feel good playing in that space.
Yeah, sure. I mean, yes.
Awesome, Anisha. So like, let's do this. Let's make this real. All right. We're playing the unapologetically you game. We're talking about really seeing what makes you special, talking about going against your nature and really aligning and allowing for your true nature to come out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And none of that really matters because what really matters is what you need help with right now, what's going on for you. So don't feel tied to any kind of theme or context. Bring whatever. If we were going to have a life-changing conversation, Anisha, what would we need to talk about today?
Life-changing. Just, well, I always feel like I need to be right whenever I am not overstepping, but I do, add to or participate in meetings that I am part of now. And they are with fairly, people in senior positions at fairly big organizations. So you have to be on the front foot, and I do lead some meetings myself, and then I'm fine because it's just you. But if I'm with my boss, for example, I do not want to just be a wallflower in the room. I do want to be participating in the meeting and not just there. So it's about striking that balance. Form an agreement with him where I do contribute to the meeting, at the same time having pointers where I know that I can also just jump in and add. So some part of it may be just different kind of prep, but also prepping him and letting him know that I want to step up and I'm not just there to sit around.
Awesome. You are really good. You must be really great job. You came in, you already answered your own question there. So that's good. Check. That one's good there. Did you actually capture what it is that you said here?
I don't know, have a conversation with him.
Yeah. that felt that you'll have the recording of this here, but it felt like you know what to do in that regard. Right. So let's keep going. Like that one, I'm glad you got a chance to say it out loud, because it really seemed pretty simple. It's not that it's easy. I do use those words very different. Like having the conversation and things, they aren't necessarily the same, but it feels like you know what's going on there. Why do you feel like you're on this call? Why did you decide to come today? And it's beyond the reason of you invited me or things like that. Like why do you feel that you're really here today?
So I mean, I did another session, the group session before in person that we did. That's a while ago though, but I think I did come out of there a little bit more energized for sure. Not a little bit, but definitely energized. And so I thought that, that's one thing for me to, have another session with you as well. The second is that, I think that I do hold back on certain things that I don't want to hold back on, in terms of, I don't always, I'm a very diplomatic person, because I do like to, I wouldn't say like please people, but I do like to hold that balance where I'm not the kind of person who has, I'm not saying I'm very high on my IQ, but I want to be the higher EQ person, which I am naturally drawn to anyway. But in some situations, I just don't want to be that person. So how do you balance that out? So right. I'm just trying to kind of toy with that balance.
Yeah. So let me just ask you this question right now, like, because if I'm getting you right, it's like you know that you're a powerful person here, and that's like the different thoughts, opinions, things that need to get out from you into the work and into the work that you do. Mm-hmm. And yet you brought up earlier around like when you're with another powerful person, how do you balance it there? I'm hearing a lot of like this element of, when you're in these situations, do you know, like what's going on through your mind? Like what's the thing that makes you say, oh, I need to balance out right now?
So in human interactions, I'm very, I'm kind, but and that's just who I am. But of course, when work needs to get done, you can't always be super kind, because if you're going to say things all with a smile on your face, it doesn't happen that way. So I think that becomes like and I don't like, not just for me, but I feel like in situations, people become split personalities, where you're having a conversation over a formal means of maybe an email, which is very strong, because that's what you really want to say. But in person, you come across differently when you're talking about the same thing, but that's just to balance it out so that it's not so strong, but you do intend to have that message sent out.
Got you.
If that makes sense.
Let me ask you, does it make sense to you?
No.
Okay.
But then,
so here goes my invitation to you, right? I can handle it. Whatever it is that you're actually whatever it is that you're trying to say, I can handle it. You don't need to balance it with me. Right. This is what it would be like in the brag zone for you. Like my invitation is just to say what's on your mind here. Like, right. So since it didn't really make sense to you, Why don't you say it again to me? I get the sentiments behind it. It's making sense to me in different ways, but it needs to make sense to you first and foremost. So what is it that you want to say here?
So, okay, so I guess the underlying fear is that you are not going to be liked with what you're going to communicate because, well, it's just what someone doesn't want to hear. So, but then that's just what has to be said. So that's the fear, I guess, that the underlying fear of, well, I still got the message across, but as a human, as a person, when you meet that person, they still see what they like. So that's what I'm dealing with. I like to be liked. So, yeah.
So wait, is the fear like, is the fear that they're going to hear you? Like, that's what it seems like you're saying that what's the fear underneath that? I'm hearing the situation. I'm not hearing the fear.
That, well, they may not like me very much after that. That's all. But then I do need people to like me to get, because I feel like when you're navigating relationships.
Yeah, and I'm gonna invite you. I'm gonna invite you. As you're saying this here, don't make this about. Let's keep this about us, right? So like, if it's about you, then like when I am, like, feel free to just like really own it. Like that way we can really get the work done. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I am an inherently a person who is known to be popular, known to have many friends, known to be able to draw a big group of people together. But and that comes with me being I relate to the fact that I am diplomatic. I let, like, people can also have a very genuine conversation with me, and I don't judge. But at the same time, that's something I've been able to draw in my personal interactions, I guess. But even in the workplace, I think I'm fairly liked. But at the same time, I guess I judge myself more as a result, because, or maybe just in my head, that if I do say this, then, well, I will not be liked very much.
And if you're just to help me see this, yeah, because what I'm trying to do right now is just see your world. Thank you very much. And I, like, you asked earlier, does that make sense to me? What you're saying makes some of the most sense, because that's, like, I've lived that life. I say that I'm a recovering people pleaser, you know, like that's it. I know how to bring tons of people together to feel good about themselves and to be liked, you know, but and at the same time, to have them all feel like they even know me and all that stuff. And they never actually really get all that I bring to the table. And there's so when I hear you discuss this here, I'm like, I get it. Like, the last 2 years have been me actually playing with this dance myself of how does this work? You know, how do I deliver? You know, I, like, honestly, I get paid to deliver news to people that they, like, not deliver news, but to help people get insights and to say things. This is what I want to say. I get paid to see things most people don't see and to say things most people won't say.
Mm-hmm.
And from coming from a recovering people pleaser, I know that there's a path to being able to be fully expressed and to actually be valued even more, because you're the one that is saying what needs to be said. How would that be for you if you were able to go and people would like you even more because you were able to be that much more honest, or you're able to deliver the messages that they needed to hear in a way that was actually true to you?
So, I mean, I did kind of, I experimented with it but not truly experimented with it, but I did deliver my message in a very, because I was right. I was actually right. I know that I'm not correct here, but so, well, I guess it's a recent situation, but I have delivered my message. But I guess there's okay, let me just rephrase this. There could be a past to some interactions that I've had, and I know that I've definitely taken a different stance. So I've definitely grown in that way. But I'm looking to take it to the next level, where it's still not like a part of me that's standing up, where I'm even in person, effectively I am. And if that means that a relationship is bruised for a period of time, well, then so be it. But then at the same time, I shouldn't be the person who is taking a stab for someone else when the whole direction as a whole needs to be achieved, if that makes sense. Again, I'm going to say.
Yeah, let's see here. Um, am I right in that it feels like if you and that you're in like an either or position right now. So like it feels like you can either have one thing or you can have another. What's the two either ors that you're in between? What are the two options that you have right now?
So I have so okay, I know, well, in my opinion, I'm in a situation where I feel like I'm right. And I have I'm a fairly process driven person, and if there's no process I will create one, just so that there's clarity, everyone's on board, um basically. And because I maintain that internal process for myself, um things are very clear and organized in when I know that things need to be done. So I know that I am right in a particular situation. And I have two paths that I can take. One is that I can continue to maintain this flow of like a formal channel and call the person out and say, well, actually, these are the facts and this is where we are. And I'm happy to discuss this in person, which we will be doing very soon. Or I just wait till that interaction is going to happen and go over it in person, but not necessarily with all the people involved, but with our supervisor to detail that out, just so that I don't point fingers at the other person saying you are wrong, versus and just ease out and say, like, I get it that maybe not everyone's as organized and maybe it slipped, but well, this is what the facts are. But yeah.
I see a smile right now. What's the smile? Tell me a little bit behind that.
I wonder if I'm going to do much detail about a specific situation. So I think it's an example of of challenges that do exist.
Yeah.
Where I send a forceful, communication of I want this done, and then in person I'm like, oh, when you have the time, whereas actually I want it now. So it's that I don't want to be the person who's like cracking the whip, but I kind of am. So because I'm a bit of a, well, things need to be done now, because if they're not done now, they'll be done never. So, well, that's part of who I am.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of there are a lot of things that I'm just saying. I'm just like, oh yeah, that just makes sense. I understand where you are, and I'm hearing here like there's an element of you going against your nature here. You're like, this is who I am, and part of this is we can play with some of who you are. Let me ask you this. I love that question. Okay, if that's who you are, then the question I ask is, who are you really?
A good question. So, I mean, I've always been the person, like, I'm juggling a lot of things, but at the same time, I'm on. Like, I like to get things done. So, but I'm also fairly lazy when it comes to it. So it's not like I'm.
Yeah, no, I like that was like right in my head right away. I was like I'm on. I'm like, is it because you like, do you like having to be on, or would you rather be able to be a little bit more in that like lazy, more relaxed side of things?
I actually like, well, this week has been one of those slightly slower weeks, which I'm glad because I needed a little slow down, but at the same time, it makes me a bit antsy. Like, wait a second, I need to be doing something because I need to be a bit more busy. Otherwise, if I slow down, I'm not able to get as much done, or I think, like I get lethargic, and I don't like being lethargic because then it really slows down. So I need to maintain a slightly fast pace or have like slight deadlines, because then I'm more productive, I would say. When things are well, that's just I do like I like a few things to be going on so that I'm able to be more productive. Now, productive is a loosely used term these days, but well, let's just use that term for now. But at the same time, in that, where was I going with this? In that space of being that like highly functioning, productive person, like I want to aim to be, or feel that I'm better as, I do struggle with my extroverted side, which as a result is also like likes to meet people, but at the same time, well, I guess I like to be that, not casual, but that person who people can relate to. And if someone's kind of charging ahead, well, then not everyone can relate to you. But then, so I struggle with that myself, where I want to be doing 100 things, but I can't do 5. At the same time, I want to, so like a struggle that I have sometimes is where I want to upskill. So on the weekend, I can either be spending time upskilling on like tech skills which I don't have, or I could be out meeting friends, which I really want to do as well. But then I just prioritize. So even in my human interactions, I guess it's like, well, do I want to come across as a person who is spending their time not meeting people because I'm, for the lack of a better word, just being a, I don't hate to say this word, but I'm not gonna say the word. I'm just being that very highly focused person to the person who is a bit more relaxed. And people like relaxed people and don't like to necessarily have people who are super, and this is me making an assumption of the people. So yeah.
Yeah. All right. So let's slow this down a little bit here, because everything that you want is in actually what you just said right there. Mm-hmm. Everything you're looking for there. You know me. You've been in social interactions with me. You get that I'm an intense person.
Yes.
Yeah, you get that, right? And I'm always constantly surrounded by people, right? And the relationships that I've been forming in Singapore, some of them, not all of them, some of them are some of the strongest relationships that I've ever had. And with that, there is a deep level of intensity. Now, my intensity it can play in a lot of different ways. It can be intense. We're having a one-on-one deep conversation. You've seen that. And then you've also then been able to see like, it's this intense with like owning the room or whatever it is, right? So there's a lot of, I bring this up because we also have like that, our own personal background where you can see like there are ways to play this in a way that can be open for you. The elements there's a lot of dichotomy. It's like I can either be this like strong, assertive, powerful, like productive person, or I'll be like a lethargic, lazy, like not get anything done, relaxed. And that's the kind of person that like a lot of people like, because if I'm that, then I'm pleasant and that like it's pleasing for others and they can like that. But if I'm also leaning into my like part of my nature of like, I want to get things done, I have things to get done, like let's move it forward. Like people won't like that, but I also need to be that in some ways. Am I getting some of that, like the dichotomy?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that people like lethargic people either, but at the same time, they're not a threat, I would say. So people don't view you as like, oh, this person's really chill, like, they're nice to hang out, they like, well.
I'm gonna interrupt that really quickly, but I'm gonna ask you, you said not a threat. You said not a threat. And I think that's a really interesting statement right there. In what ways do you feel like if you were just like allowing yourself to be like, to say what you need to say, to be like, this is what needs to get done, all that, in what ways would you feel like you were being a threat to people?
Well, I'm a competitive person. Mm-hmm. So when I find that someone's competitive in the same things I want to do, I'm not happy about it either. So I'm just a bit like, oh, I need to up my game. So, but at the same time, it gets me to the next high gear. But when someone doesn't display themselves as a threat, well, then maybe it's me, right? So that's just the way I view things. My closest friends are people who are thriving in their ways. I like that, because I like to hang out with people who are driven, because then you are driven as well. So don't get me wrong in terms of that, but I feel like if someone's in my space, then I do get on edge, and then I can get a bit uncomfortable. So I guess, well, it's about me. So, and yeah.
Yeah, I respect you for saying that. Like, part of this here is just to help us see some of the things that we do, and to give us some space to be able to choose differently, right? There's no right or wrong in this conversation, all right? I'm actually really good with not being either right or wrong. It's like, it's a skill set that I have.
Yeah.
I know how to be right. I was a consultant for 6 years, you know?
Uh-huh.
I know exactly how to be right. What's coming to mind is like, and I'm married, so I also know how to be wrong. But right and wrong, like I'm able to play in that area. It's really cool. Like competition actually fuels you. Being around other people who are actually driven fuels you, right?
Yeah.
And there's, as I'm hearing, as we're talking here, there's elements here that I want to pull out the dichotomy that's like, and I can get it with like a right wrong. It's like it's either this or that. Right. This we're and what I want to try and offer you is just a little bit of space of, what about the word and instead of or?
Mm-hmm.
What about and? What's curious to me here is the identity of like being like this super productive, like, you know, getting everything done, has to drive everything through, like, and like that's just who you are, like, you know, competitive in nature. Like, this is where it is. There's like that to me feels like an identity that you've taken on. And then there's another part of you that's just like actually part of your nature that is also just like, it's welcoming and inviting, and allows space for it to just like, allows for space to just take place too. And the question that's coming to my mind here is, what if you could be even more productive? What if you could be even more, I like the word effective, because sometimes, and part of what I'm hearing is that you're probably pretty efficient. You know, I'm curious how effective you are, right? But what if you could be even more effective and even more productive by A, leaning more into the drive part of you, and B, leaning more into the softer part of you as well.
Mm.
Right? When I say that there, what comes to mind? What if that was possible? What would it be like for you if that was the case?
So it's funny you say that, because, well, it's come out in a different way at work, where, so I play basketball as well, and I'm aggressive on the basketball court because, well, it's a sport, and not aggressive like where I'm out of line, but it's like I'll do anything to get the ball. And I play with mostly guys, so I just play the game. So some of my colleagues play with me as well, and well, then they're like, "Oh, have you seen her on the court? She's really aggressive." And so it's begin this thing at work where, "Oh, she's really aggressive." So I'm like, "I'm not aggressive. I'm just aggressive on the court." But I can be aggressive in an environment that requires it. There's no need to show that aggression every day because there's no need. So, but I don't want that to be the person who I am, because, well, I'm actually a soft, like, approachable person. But of course, when something's out of line, I do call it. So, so I was uncomfortable with being called aggressive. But like, no, that's not me. But it can be me when called upon. So it's about me also allowing that to take place. And I remember you mentioning earlier in your sharing that you don't mind the attention, which is great. But I'm actually quite conscious when it comes to attention, even though there's attention on me several times. So people say, "Oh my God, have you? You're so popular." I'm like, no, I'm not. But because I justify and think that, well, it's like everyone knows 100 people in Singapore. I'm just giving, and people do, and so I don't think it's anything really out of the ordinary. Maybe it's from their view, and I just think that, oh, they're just saying it to be nice. So I don't want to thrive in that. Yeah. So I don't take compliments. So it's like, "Oh, you're looking really fit today." I'm just like, yeah, well, I mean, sure, thank you, I guess. But and part of me is just like, I'm not actually that active as XYZ people. So, I mean, I don't take those compliments. So, I may have dissected and like gone in a different direction here.
You're going in exactly the right direction. Keep going.
But so I was, you know, quite I'm applauding your ability to take the attention.
Yeah. So there's like, Anisha, I don't think I've even realized just how similar you and I are. Yeah, because people
we're chronically apart, so I think that makes sense.
Yeah. But like, yeah, like I really, really get this. Like my whole life, people have come to me and they're like, "Wow, you're so popular," you know, and not always in a like a lot of times with that like tone of voice where it's like, "Wow, you're so popular," you know, like not like, "Wow, you're so popular." It's like there's a bit of like disdain that's in there, and it's subtle. But I know that you're someone with a high EQ. And so like, you probably can pick up on that there. And I don't know about you, but like my whole thing is like, I want to be like, as a people pleaser. It's like, I wanted to be with people. And the more that I was, if I was labeled as popular, then that would put me on a different level than them. And then that would actually create more disruption, and less connection, you know? Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, no. I'm actually more like you. Like we're all like, I'm not popular. Like we're not like, and the fact of the matter is, and this, I can say it to you, the question is, will you be willing to receive this here? You have something very different going on than most other people in this entire country. I know because I spend time with people. Most other people know 100 people, but they won't get 100 people to come be with them like in the way that you've created your relationships. What you've done is something far stronger, far more meaningful than what most other people have. They have connections that are here or there. But like, you've created friendships. People light up when they see you there, and it's not it doesn't happen for everyone, right? And I say this here. I don't know if you're gonna be able to receive it, but I'm gonna give like part of what I want to do is give you a chance to practice, mm-hmm. right? But I say this here also because you talk about wanting to get to your next level when it comes to this stuff here, right? And right now, there's an element here that I'm wondering: are you truly owning the fact that yes, you are popular? Or the word I use is well known. I'm like, I'm not popular. I would never win, but I am well known, and I own that. Everyone knows me. Everyone does know me. But it's a thing it is true. Not everyone knows everyone, but it's something unique that I could bring to the table. Because everyone knows me, I can connect you with different people. Because everyone knows me, you can be someone who is an individual person here feeling alone in this country, and I can connect you and bring you into a party or whatever it is. But I own that. And there's an element here that's been really interesting, is that the more that I've owned it, the more that people have actually been coming in.
True. Yeah, owning it. I mean, I've seen, yeah.
If you have paper right now, yeah, go ahead, say it again.
I do.
Yeah. Just write down really quickly 5 things about yourself that like, if you really owned, would mean that you're playing at your next level.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot to think about. It's like hard to think of them right now. But,
okay. All right. Well, then take that on as a little bit of work after this here, right?
5 things that you would own, right?
Yeah. I mean, 5. Yes. 5 things about you that if you just owned would mm-hmm. catapult you to your next level.
Yeah.
Because I'm hearing this, Anisha. I'm hearing this. This is how I see you based on this conversation here. You are a powerful woman who makes things happen in the world. You have strong decisions, and you're decisive, and you're willing to make that. You're willing to go ahead and drive things to completion. And you're someone who's not just opinionated, but you actually can back it up with the facts. You're someone who's throughout all this year is dedicated to excellence for one reason or another. Like, you come out and you make sure that, like, you know, that the game is really being played. And there's elements of you that are like on the court, that's like, give me the ball. And I'm also hearing it in life. Like, you can be the one that's trusted with having the ball. 1 second. This is you not receiving, by the way. I let that happen, but this is you not receiving. So just giving you some time to practice that. Your job in this moment is just to listen, right? And allow yourself the chance of, maybe this is true.
Okay.
All right. How does that feel? It's a little edgy for me to say. I said I was going to hide nothing, hold nothing back. I'm here to serve you rather than please you.
Yes, I'm listening, but okay. I'm also writing down some points that I want to cover.
No worry, you have this recorded. You can come back and listen to this. Right now, your job is just to receive it.
Yeah, okay.
Okay? Like, just to receive it and allow it to potentially be true, even just for now. If we just played for now and imagine, what if this was true? So you're this powerful person who's able to really come off there and deliver things with a smile, and do things in a way that allows people to feel good about the process. However, it still needs to get done. You're not just some frou-frou person that's just saying, let's all just be happy and like, no, there's stuff that needs to get done. We could enjoy the process, and I want to get to enjoy you throughout it, but like, let's make no mistake. Let's cross the finish line together. And with that, you are someone who has the capacity to hold a lot of people within you. What I mean by that there is that, like, part of the reason why you are so well known is that you have built the strength of character to hold multiple relationships, to make the decision to go and deepen a relationship with someone, as opposed to just spending time alone, or doing something that might be just using that energy in a different way. You've chosen to build the skill set and build the capacity to hold people. And so you can have hundreds of people in your life, and you can do that. You're someone who is competitive, and that makes you strong. And there's times where some people can feel it, and they're like, this feels really aggressive. And there's some people right now, if I'm getting you right here, you're someone who not everyone can handle. That you probably disarm a lot of people. They're thinking that you're going to be not, like, they see the smile, they see you out there, they're like, oh, it's going to be this way. And then you show up as you are fully, and there's an element of them that gets checked. And perhaps some of the words that they use is, you're aggressive. Perhaps some of these things here, but in your mind, you know it. You're at like a level 4. You're like, you haven't even seen me aggressive. You want to see aggressive? Wait for it. There's a time and place. This ain't it, my friend. You're someone who has power that, like, exudes beyond you. And there's something about you that is really, really, really fully present. I'm going to stop there for now. All right. I'm going to stop there for now. You can go back and watch this here, because everything I said here is exactly how I see you. I'm speaking my truth to you. In the spirit of practice and the receiving, I'm going to ask you, there's one thing that would really work here. And that's just 2 words. Thank you. So would you be willing to practice receiving right here and just respond with a thank you?
Thank you.
Awesome.
Okay.
How do you feel right now? What are you feeling inside right now? I want to share this with you.
Well, I'm energized, in the sense that I will think about those 5 things, so that I'm not like, I just own it, and then I'll just be more comfortable in my own, in what and who I am, in a way. And yeah, though there are, I'll just say thank you, but there are, certain things that I don't view that way. So
doesn't mean it's not right, though. Doesn't mean it's not correct.
Maybe, right? So but I'm definitely like a better energy level, or not energy, but yeah, just owning it in owning it. That's all.
Awesome. So let's wrap up here a bit here, because I think, Anisha, this is the reason I say awesome is that, like, we talked about a number of different things, and what I realized is that those are all various symptoms of something else, right? The conversations you were having, the ways that people are seeing you on one floor, and all that, right? And to me, it feels like the challenges that are happening there are when you are going against your own nature. You are a powerful person, but you're not owning that. I am an incredibly visible person all the time. I don't even have to say anything. I could be trying to hide and I can't hide. And it's painful and it hurts and it feels like we're hurt. It feels like we're helping more, but I'm pretty sure I was being super distracting, being on the floor, crouching and moving my legs one way or the other. And the whole thing that I was trying to avoid, I was probably making even worse. You don't want to be seen as a threat, but then perhaps they're out there, people are out there like, I can't tell. Like, maybe one day she'll be nice. Maybe one day she's going to come at me. Like, I don't know. Right. And so what I'm going to offer you, my invitation to you, is to really spend the time on the owning part, because that's the next level for you. It's not about doing more of what you're doing. Being more productive is not like for me in the game that you play, I don't think it's going to get you anywhere more than what you already have. You'll get more of what you have, but you won't get that next level stuff. Right. Now it's about the element of like, how do you actually leverage yourself? You talked about energy. We didn't go deeply into it here, but when I talk to people now, I never talk about time management ever. They think it's a time management thing, but it's an energy management thing. And right now, what it is like, my invitation to you is to spend more time really owning what it is, like who you are, and using that as like, almost like your calling card. I know that I'm intense. People know that I'm intense. And people come to me for that. And people don't come to me for anything that's like, they're like, oh, I just want to like have like a nice conversation. They see my smile. I've been told this. They see my smile. They're like, oh, and then I get into it and it's intense. They're like, whoa, I thought this was just going to be like a nice, like relaxing conversation. And I have to say to them, oh, hi, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Niiamah, you know? But there's an element here that in the owning and receiving. And here goes why I think you can't own it, because you're not receiving it. We see this in you. We are calling, and we tell you because we're calling you out into your own levels of greatness. You aren't answering the call. So the path for you on the things of ownership will be through receiving. And I get that up until now, like saying no has really served you. But that's going to continue. Like anything you do with that mindset on is going to be more of what you already have. If you're actually serious about stepping up to the next level of your leadership and how you show up in the world, part of it is going to be having to allow it to come in, even if it makes no sense, even if you don't think that it's right. How does that feel for you? Are you willing to take that on?
Yes. It's a good challenge for not just 2020, but like to start now. So
yeah. Your job is to receive. Like, and through that, the ownership will come. But your job is to receive for the next, let's just say it's about the end of this year. For the next 60 days, your job is to practice believing the positive things that people say about you. And then to start owning that and using it. Because the thing is that you're not using it responsibly or as responsibly as you can. And I think there's a part of that like, I think you feel. And this could be leveraged, so you don't have to be as productive as you are. You're being way too productive. When I hear you say productive going forward, I'm like, oh man, sorry, sucks to be you there. You know. But yeah, I'm gonna take you off the hot seat here. I'm gonna make a quick closing remark, and then we'll end for today. Sound good?
Yes. Thank you, Niiamah.
Thank you, Anisha. So we have our nature. I didn't know where this conversation was going to go, but it all ties together here. There's something that we would naturally do. There's someone who we truly are. And in our attempts of being even more along the way, we don't necessarily give that the room to have its space. So I'm going to invite you to spend some time looking into your nature. And we came up here and you saw one of the little steps, one of the little openers to allow you to really step into who you truly are. And that's to be able to receive. We can give. We are givers out there. I know that if you're watching this here, that you're someone who's given a lot in your life. And now, part of what is going to get you to your next level is your ability to also receive it. I'm NiiamahAshong. It's wonderful to have you here. I'd love to see you. This is part of what we do in the Unapologetically You community. Come out here if you're ready to go and practice owning who you are, stepping into your true nature, and doing the difficult work of receiving, because it's a lot easier to push it away. If you're ready to come and play that way, go ahead and go to niiamahashong.com/UYE and come join us in the conversation. And then you might be able to also be invited into our Unapologetically You community, where we're working week after week on basically your courage gym, the courage to be you, and helping you discover different ways that you're getting in your own way and allowing more of your true essence, not just an identity that you're wearing, to come to life. I'll talk to you soon.